Good morning, everybody. So, I've decided to take a little bit of a break from the stock cars for a while. I promise I will finish them. But I was just in the mood for something else, and obviously that means classic Formula 1 cars. Well, not obviously, but you know, who doesn't love classic and Formula 1 cars? It's been scientifically proven that Formula 1 was better in the 80s and 90s. You know, all the evidence is there. But in all seriousness, if you're of a certain age, you'll remember a lot of these names and cars very, very fondly. So I've got my custom AI file going, and I was initially going to do this in the Lotus, but having driven all the models of the Gen 2 classics, I think I prefer Model 3. So I've gone for the Williams, and I'll be replacing Thierry Boutsen. So sorry, Thierry, because I didn't really want. Well, the Model 3 cars includes the McLaren, the Williams, and the Ferrari. I didn't really want to replace Mansell, Berger. Certainly didn't want to replace Prost or Senna, and I didn't really want to replace Patrese either, because you know he was a major player at this sort of time. So we're looking at qualifying here. Prost on pole, fair enough. Patrese in second, brilliant. We followed him in the second Williams. But a brilliant performance from Martin Brundle, who's managed to get his Brabham, I think that is, up to fourth. And as well, Stefano Modena's done well. Alessandro Nannini up in fifth. Senna somehow really struggling. Don't know what happened there. Stefan Johansson pulling probably the best lap of his life out around this track. But the real strugglers, Berger and Mansell, split by Jonathan Palmer. So this is really interesting, because I mean I had to go back and check my AI file just to make sure I hadn't cocked everything up. But no, everything's fine. This is it. So apparently they just maybe go differently at different tracks. So it's going to be a 20-lap race. I've had to put the AI on a mandatory pit stop, because even with the tyre wear turned all the way up, they were nursing like just absolutely spent tyres right to the end of the race, which is what we don't really want. So hopefully the AI will make at least one pit stop. We're on about 105%, and the first round of the 1989 season is at Jacarapagua. Probably butchered that name. So this is where they raced before the Interlagos that we know now. I think in 1990 they went to the modern version of Interlagos that we are now familiar with. So, right, without further jibber-jabbering, I'll see you on the grid in a moment. Totally expecting to be interrupted by the postman. Terrible start. Patrese and Prost have gotten away. We're a little wide. So this is a really fast track. And bumpy. Lots of really fast to medium speed corners. This is the slowest corner on the track. Here, this hairpin leading onto the really long back straight. Seriously though, what a lovely track. I love the setting, love the scenery. So we've got Modena behind us, and Brundle and Nannini. This is a weird corner. So the pit window's open. And you really can't get on the curbs here. They will kick you all over the place. The AI will risk it though. You'll see them stick wheels on it. I'm just gonna try and use Patrese as a bit of a rabbit. and chase him and not to try and do anything stupid. To be fair, I only recently started racing these cars, and they are surprisingly planted. Just want a quick look at it. I hope I've got enough fuel. I'm not actually sure. Oh well. See, this corner's weird. It tightens up a bit, and then it opens out. So Prost looks like he's taken off. I'd be surprised if we caught him. I'm not going to do anything stupid to jeopardise Patrazi's race. I can't multitask. I should probably do this on the back straight where it's much longer. Okay, looking at the standings on the left hand side, it looks like Senna's making his way through the field. Some new tyres. Let's see if we can get to about lap 10. Pit in the middle of the race, which would be lovely. So Modena's past Brundle now, I think. Was he always there? So many things to pay attention to, least of all the curbs. Interesting how Formula 1 has changed now. Like, I can't go near these curbs. And modern Formula 1 is sort of how much curb can you get away with using. Patrese looked like he struggled into that first corner. So I'm not quite old enough to remember these cars the first time around. I was born in the mid-80s. So I wouldn't have seen these cars the first time around. I was first aware of Formula 1 when probably Mansell won his championship rather, finally. And it was kind of hard not to be aware of it at the time. I'm no historian, but I do love my motorsport history as well. So it's nice to learn about these things. I actually listened to a really funny podcast about Riccardo Patrese, the guy in front of us. And it's like absolutely wild to me that he's one of the most successful Italian racing drivers ever. Like after Ascari, I think. And he was racing in the 50s? So you think that, I mean, modern F1 in inverted commas. I mean, Fisichella was a decent driver. But Patrese won 6 races, I think? Could be getting that wrong. Yeah, to think that Italy haven't been able to produce a really decent racing driver is wild. So what's your favourite era of F1? And why, really? Honestly, because I'm quite superficial. I just think the cars looked cooler. They were far more colourful. Especially the Benetton, crikey. You should see the Benetton in this one, it looks wonderful. Sorry, so for like the first 6 laps or so, we've done nothing but stare at the back of Patrese Williams and listen to me get bleary-eyed about back in my day. I'm also working really hard here with the H pattern shifter, so sorry if you can hear that clicking away. So we've got a big gap back to Modena now. Ooh, getting a little bit sucked into Patrese's dirty air. Prost has absolutely cleared off. Don't want to be doing that. The grip's starting to get a little sketchy now. I'm worried about Senna. But it doesn't look like he's managed to find a way past Modena yet. So the Brabham's going really well here. So points should go down to 7th place, by the way, because there is no point scoring system in the game. Just for the top 6 positions. If there's one thing I definitely like added, it's more point scoring systems, or the ability to put our own in. I'm sure it'll come because Razor are pretty good at that sort of stuff. Well, I mean, just look at what we can do with the custom AI now. Ooh, the back end's starting to come around a little bit. I wish I knew when Patrese was coming in, because I don't want to occupy the same pit box. If that's how this game works, I'm not sure. Don't want to get out on the dirty bit of the track. Oh, balloons, isn't that lovely? Were they there in real life? I have gone back and watched some of the Grand Prix at Jacarapagua, however you pronounce it. I don't remember balloons. I might have just missed them. really nice rhythm around this track when you get it right. I don't know how the modern one fares. Probably flat curbs. Ooh, back in, kicking out a little bit. Stay off those curbs. Nothing else, we've got a quick car down the back straight, so we really pull away from Medina. Wow, Lacey's into 6th now. Also, it's worth going back and watching a review of the season if you haven't seen it, just to see how impressive John Lacey was in that Tyrrell. I think this was his debut season, and he was seriously impressive. You can see why he was so highly rated. Probably didn't quite live up to the expectations everyone had for him, but he certainly won't be the last Formula 1 driver that happens to. So we're seriously just holding station at the moment. Not necessarily trying to rear gun for Patrese, but just not doing anything stupid. I'm not quick enough, I don't think, to pass him and pull a gap, so I'm quite happy to just stick in behind him for the moment. Senna is still stuck behind Medina. I have got the aggression turned quite high up, so I was hoping they wouldn't get stuck too much behind cars who were slower in the race. But obviously Medina is driving just fast enough to give Senna problems. So Prost's pit, I've just noticed. Patrese now leads the race. Are starting to feel a little bit dodgy now, and the steering coming out of the left hand bends. My front right is really worn. You know what, it never occurred to me, was there any team radio at this point in Formula 1? I'm not sure there would have been. So let's make sure we've got, yep, soft slicks. We don't want to repair any damage because we don't have any yet. Now this is a really tricky pit entrance, so I'm putting the limiter on. Right then, boys. Some new tyres, please. So hopefully we should come out not too far behind Prost. And this pit exit is perilous. So who's in this gaggle ahead of us? PK, Herbert and Stefan Johansson. Johansson looks like he's holding the Lotus up. So for future races it looks like I might have to up the aggression a bit. Is PK going through? No. Johansson holds it around the outside, I think. Who's behind us? Maurizio Gugelmin. I'm not too worried about him. I think the Model 3 is my favourite. The Model 1 Gen 2 I think is probably the most nimble. It's a lot lighter. But I think the power delivery on this one's a V6 I think. The other two are V8s. The power delivery on this one's just really nice. A little bit smoother, a little bit more forgiving. At least I find. Still sounds pretty cool. PK having another look. To be fair, they're not holding me up too much. But I do want to keep my distance in case there's any shenanigans that I don't want to get caught up in. They're all going to have to pit eventually anyway. Whoops, getting on the limiter a bit there. It's okay, situations like this teach us where we need to make tweaks. And it looks like we need to make the AI a bit more aggressive. We've got a really good run, triple slipstream. A really good run. PK is going to have us back. I lost it going into that corner a little bit. We'll give PK the position back because I don't want to crash. won't quite commit to the move, and it is actually starting to slow me down now. Oh crikey, that's what happens when you hit the curb. This is a spot I don't want to be in. Ooh. Weaving our way through the slower cars. Hopefully that hasn't cost us too much time. Immediately putting like a second and a half into Johansson. So we've got Nannini like 15 seconds up the road. He can't have pit yet, surely. And Prost way ahead of us, presumably still leading the Grand Prix. Oh, he isn't, he's second, so Patrese can't have come in yet. No sign of Senna or Brundle. Looks like Medina is now caught up behind Johansson as well. I've lost PK, so he must have come into the pits. Interesting to see what happens when this all shakes out. Okay, that's Nannini into the pits. So where's Patrese going to come out? Assuming it's Patrese leading the race, I can only assume it is, because there was no one ahead of Prost. Lovely flat spot now. Right, take it easy. You got 8 seconds back to Medina. You do not need to rush this. Massively overfueled the car by the looks of things. Never mind. Patrazi's leaving it really late to come in if he's gonna. Looks like there's back markers coming up because Prost has disappeared off my leaderboard. Nakajima looks like he's having a mat. Whoops. Back end kicking out again a little bit. Okay, Patrazi's in. And he's come out behind us, I think. Yep. So we've jumped Patrazi in the pits. With 2 laps to go, can we hold him off? So look behind us, there he is. Maximum concentration now. This is prime Bennett territory. Territory. Prost has just absolutely disappeared. Professor hard at work. This will be where Patrazi catches me, if anywhere. We admire the scenery for one last time down the back straight. Bang! That is really horrible when you hit those. Okay, a good day at the office. We're going to finish in second. Woof, and that was an absolute workout. So let's just wait for everyone to cross the line. So Alan Prost, 14 seconds ahead, absolutely disappeared. Followed by the 2 Williams of myself and Patrazi on the podium. We jumped Patrazi in the pits. He was probably a little bit quicker, in all fairness. Stefano Modena actually managed to hold on to 4th position. On pace as well, like he was quick. Alessandro Nannini managed to fend off Ayrton Senna almost all race. Mansell looks like he made at least a little bit of progress. Berger certainly did. So, let's have a look how the championship looks after that. So it will come as no surprise to you whatsoever to find that the current championship results are exactly the same as the race results. What a miraculous discovery. So it's Prost from myself and Patrazi, so Senna, Berger, Mansell, people with work to do. And next we are off to Imola. So I've got the opponent aggression at 57% at the moment. I'm probably going to up that a little bit. Whether there'll be more overtaking opportunities around Imola rather than Brazil, we'll just have to wait and see. No schedule for when this is gonna come out or when the next one is gonna come out, but we'll get there in the end. But you can take a look at my championship if you want. So we'll be visiting Imola and Monaco. Those two were on the calendar fine. No Mexico. I thought about going to, I think there's a track in either Ecuador or Venezuela, one of the stock car tracks, or maybe the Formula 3 tracks, I'm not sure. I checked that out, but I think Buenos Aires will make for a better track. The American round we're going to is Virginia. Was it Dallas? The 1989 round? I think it was Dallas. So we're going to Virginia, Montreal. I think Paul Ricard should be in there somewhere, but we don't have a French track. There's no French track in the game, which is a bit of a shame, really. I think classic Paul Ricard would be really cool. That was a great track. I preferred the old one to the new one. Silverstone, Hockenheim, should be Hungaroring in that as well. I thought about going to Austria, but I didn't really gel with the vibe of the cars. It's quite a modern looking track. So after Spa, Monza, Cascais, otherwise known as Estoril, Jerez, Kansai, Suzuka, and Adelaide. And I've tried to keep it historically accurate, so if there's a wet race in real life, in the real 89 season, there'll be a wet race here, but not to a point where it was undrivable, because, go back and watch some highlights, or probably the full race on YouTube somewhere, of the 1989 Adelaide Grand Prix. It was absolute insanity. It's a miracle no one was killed. And this is a season worth going to see anyway. If you're a Prost or Senna fan, you probably know about the 89 season anyway, and you come down on one side or the other. Have to admit, I am a bit more Prost than Senna. I just preferred the way he drove. I was never a huge fan of Senna. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'll see you in... Where are we going? Imola.